Step into the darkness where reality blurs and nightmares come alive. I grew up in a quaint little town nestled among the rolling hills of the countryside. Routines of small-town living. Life was simple, predictable, and filled with the comforting routines of small-town living. Who spent long hours at the laboratory, conducting experiments and pushing the boundaries of human knowledge at the laboratory. On the other hand, and pushing the boundaries of human home and raising our daughter, Emily, on the other hand, was the light of our lives. Focused on caring for our home and raising our daughter, sweet and precocious child, who was the light of our lives. Eyes that sparkled with curiosity and wonder. Precocious child. From a young age, she displayed an uncanny intelligence and an insatiable thirst for knowledge. She displayed an uncanny intelligence and an insatiable thirst for knowledge, devouring books. But as Emily grew older, I began to notice strange things about her. But as Emily grew older, I began to notice strange things about her. She would sometimes stare off into space, lost in thought, her eyes distant. She would sometimes stare off into space, other times, lost in thought, she would exhibit remarkable feats of strength and agility. Performing acrobatic she would exhibit remarkable feats of strength and agility, performing acrobatic maneuvers that seemed beyond the capabilities of a normal child. Nothing more than the quirks of an imaginative child. I brushed off these peculiarities as nothing more than the quirks of an imaginative child. There was something deeply wrong with my daughter. But as time went on, something that I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something deeply wrong with my daughter. It wasn't until one fateful night that my suspicions were confirmed. It wasn't until one fateful night that my suspicions were expecting to find her fast asleep. I had gone to check on Emily before bed, but as I stepped into her room, a chill ran down my spine, sending shivers cascading down my arms. A chill ran down my spine. The air felt heavy with an otherworldly energy down my arms, crackling with an electric charge that set my nerves on edge. An otherworldly energy, and there, crackling with an electric charge that set my nerves on edge, bathed in a soft halo of ethereal light. In the center of the room, stood Emily, eyes glowed with an otherworldly halo of ethereal light. Their usual warmth replaced by an eerie luminescence that sent a shiver down my spine. Their usual warmth replaced by an eerie luminescence that sent a shiver down my spine. A malevolent presence. It was as if she had been possessed by some unseen force. I watched in horror as Emily reached out with a delicate hand, her fingers curling around a toy as Emily reached out with a delicate hand. With a mere flick curling around a toy, she lifted it effortlessly into the air. The plastic with a mere flick of her wrist above her, she lifted it effortlessly into the air. My heart pounded in my chest as I struggled to make sense of what I was seeing. My heart pounded in my chest as I struggled to make sense of what I was seeing. My daughter was displaying powers and abilities that defied all rational explanation. My daughter was displaying powers and abilities that defied all rational explanation. Unable to tear my gaze away from the surreal scene, I stood frozen in shock. Unable to tear my gaze away from the situation sank in, a cold knot of fear tightened. But as the gravity of the situation sank in, I knew that I had to confront Emily about what I had with my stomach, to demand answers and reassurance that she was still my daughter, about what I had witnessed, the same sweet child I had raised with love and care, that she was still my daughter. But as I opened my mouth to speak, I had raised with love and care in the back of my mind. But as I opened my mouth to speak, within my voice whispered in the back of my mind, I hesitated, warning me unsure of what to do next, as the weight of the truth settled upon my shoulders like a heavy burden. Of what to do next. As the weight of the truth settled upon my shoulders like Emily's shoulder, hoping to break through whatever dark influence. I reached out to touch Emily's shoulder, but as my fingers brushed against dark influence, a surge of icy coldness washed over me. But as my fingers brushed against down my spine, a surge of icy coldness washed over me. I knew that my daughter was no longer the innocent child I had raised. And in that moment, she had become something else entirely, the innocent child something dark and sinister, with powers and abilities that defied all rational explanation. Something dark and sinister, with powers and abilities that defied all rational explanation. I knew that I had to act fast to protect my family from whatever malevolent force had taken hold of my daughter. I knew that I had to act fast to protect my family from whatever malevolent force had taken hold of my daughter. But little did I know that the horrors that awaited us were far worse than anything I could have imagined. But little did I know that the horrors that awaited us were far worse than anything I could have about what I had witnessed. Terrified and but instead of reassuring me or offering an explanation, he grew defensive and evasive. But instead of reassuring me or offering an explanation, he grew defensive and evasive, dismissing my concerns with vague assurances. I could see the truth lurking behind his words, but I knew better. And shame that he tried so desperately to hide. I could see the truth lurking behind his words, my husband, and the man I had loved and trusted for so many years, had been keeping secrets from me. The man I had loved and trusted for so many years had been keeping secrets from me. Determined to uncover the truth that threatened to tear our family apart. Into Daniel's work. Determined to uncover his research notes and journals, I began to dig deeper into Daniel's light on scouring his research notes and journals for any clue that might shed light on Emily's mysterious origins. A trail of breadcrumbs leading back to a top-secret government facility hidden deep in the heart of the countryside. Leading back to a top-secret government facility had conducted his most controversial experiments. It was there that Daniel had conducted his most controversial experiments. Experiments involving alien DNA and genetic manipulation. Injecting her with a serum derived from extraterrestrial samples in a misguided attempt to unlock the serum derived from extraterrestrial samples. As the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, I realized the full extent of Daniel's betrayal. As the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, he had sold our daughter's soul to the highest Daniel's betrayal, sacrificing her humanity. He had sold our daughter's soul to the highest bidder, sacrificing her humanity in pursuit. I confronted Daniel about his crimes, demanding answers with righteous and accountability. I confronted Daniel about his crimes, but he refused to listen, and dismissing my accusations with a cold and callous indifference. But he refused to listen, dismissing my accusations with a cold and callous indifference. I knew that I had to take matters into my own hands. Desperate and alone, with Emily's life that I had to take matters into my own hands. On a dangerous journey into the heart of darkness, hanging in the balance, to rescue my daughter from the clutches of the sinister forces that sought to control. Determined to rescue my daughter from the clutches of the sinister forces that sought to control that surrounded us. But as I delved deeper into the web of lies and deceit that surrounded us, the aliens had plans for Emily, the true plans that went far beyond anything I could have imagined. The aliens had plans for Emily, and unless I acted fast, far beyond anything I could have imagined, more than a pawn in their twisted game of power and domination. My daughter would become nothing more than nothing but my love for Emily and a steely determination to protect her at all costs. Armed with nothing but my love for Emily and the forces of evil that threatened to protect her at all costs, I set out to confront the forces of evil. I knew that the battle for my daughter's soul had only just begun. And as I gazed into the abyss, I grew up in a battle for my daughter's soul nestled among the rolling hills of the countryside. Life was simple, predictable.